There was a moment in my life when I came face to face with pure evil. This wasn't a nightmare. It wasn't a story. And he had come to take me, not through fear, not by force, but by slowly wearing me down until I believed the only way out was death. What I didn't know at the time was that the one attacking me wasn't just any demon. It was the enemy himself. It was Satan, and I was next on his list. Hello and welcome to the channel. If you found this video, this is not a coincidence, and I believe with all my heart this video is for you. If you're dealing with severe anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, drug use, or you're in a kind of pain that you can't even explain, please hear me. You are not crazy, and you are not alone. I've been there. I've walked through the darkness. I've carried the weight of something trying to break me from the inside out, and what I'm about to share with you is what saved my life. This isn't hype. This isn't for views. This is real. And if you'll stay with me, I believe Jesus can meet you just like he met me. Before I came back to Jesus, my life probably looked pretty normal to most people. I had a 9-to-5 job, Monday through Friday. I was hitting the gym consistently. I loved bodybuilding, lifting heavy, building my body. That was my thing. Outside of work, I hung out with coworkers, hit bars, sometimes strip clubs. I drank, but honestly, I smoked weed way more than I drank. It became my way of coping. I smoked heavy and often. At that time, I wasn't walking with Christ at all. If you looked at me, you just see a regular guy, someone focused on fitness, partying here and there, living for the weekend. I wasn't thinking about spiritual things. I wasn't reading the Word. I wasn't praying. And I definitely didn't know that something had already started stalking me in the spirit. Everything seemed fine on the outside until I started noticing the weight. This heaviness. It wasn't physical. It wasn't emotional. It was spiritual. And day by day it got worse, like something was wearing me down bit by bit. I didn't know what was going on, but deep inside, I started to feel like something was after me, something dark, and it was gaining ground. I decided to check myself into the hospital. I thought maybe they could tell me what was wrong with me and maybe fix it. I was desperate for an answer. But instead, they gave me the worst news of all. They couldn't tell me what was wrong. My blood work, charts, were all fine. Nothing was wrong. So they decided to start asking me questions about my mental health. How's work? How's your personal life? So I knew it was time for me to get the hell out of there. I walked out feeling even worse than I did stepping into this place. Started taking walks at the park, just to breathe, just to cope. And I remember watching people laughing, talking, living their lives. And I was jealous. Jealous of how free they looked, how they had peace. And I didn't. I started spiraling. I smoked more weed, way more. I was trying to escape, but I started having panic attacks while I was high, so I tried to cut back. None of it worked. At the time, I didn't think this thing was a demon or some evil spirit. It never revealed itself. It always stayed hidden, and it wore me down day by day. This presence, this thing, it started growing stronger, and this wasn't something I could see with my eyes. It was something I felt. It was like something sucking the light out of the room and out of me. I'd wake up every day thinking, why am I even alive? What's the point of any of this? It felt like my soul was being slowly drained. I didn't want to believe that this thing was an evil spirit or a demon, because deep down, I knew if I started going down that road, I might actually lose my mind. I wasn't in a good place to begin with, and the only thing I had left to hold on to was my own logic, my common sense, my mental grip on reality. And I knew, if I started questioning that, then I was done for. I wasn't on any medications. I wasn't doing hard drugs, just drinking and smoking weed. Maybe I smoked something bad. Maybe it was just in my head. But the more I searched for a logical answer, the more intense the battle became. It was like I was being punished for not acknowledging what it really was. The deeper I ran into reason, the more violent the spiritual storm became. I couldn't take it anymore. Whatever this thing was, I felt like it was going to kill me. I was exhausted. I had been fighting it with nothing but willpower for so long, and I had finally reached my breaking point. And in that weakened, vulnerable state it revealed itself, not physically, but in my mind. For the first time ever, it spoke to me. It said, if you kill yourself, you'll have peace. And then, just like that, it left me. Its presence, that heavy, choking pressure I had lived under was suddenly gone. And for the first time in what felt like forever, I had peace. I was in shock. Total disbelief. How could something so evil just disappear? And then it hit me. It tried to trick me. It never really left. This thing wanted me so badly. Its thoughts started crossing into mine. It was no longer whispering to me. It was thinking through me. I felt what it felt. I knew its thoughts. And I came to a terrifying realization. This was not human. The scales started to fall from my eyes, even though I didn't know it at the time. The Lord had just given me divine revelation. This evil in its arrogance, in its certainty that it already had me. This evil overplayed its hand. I now understood. It didn't just want to destroy me. It wanted to claim me, to torment me in hell far beyond anything I had faced on earth. The suffering it had planned for me was 1,000 times worse than anything I had ever imagined. And worst of all, this thing had no mercy, no love, only hatred. A level of hatred that I, as a human being, could never even comprehend. It was pure evil, and it hated me beyond anything I had ever experienced. In that moment, I became a believer again. If hell is real, if demons are real, then heaven must be real too. God must be real. And I made a decision. I was not going to kill myself. No way. If that thing wanted me dead, it would have to do it itself. But I wasn't going to take my life. And what I didn't realize at the time was that the Lord was with me. He gave me the strength, the willpower, to stand up in the Spirit and claim my life back. I knew who my enemy was now. There was no more doubt, and I realized something else. If this thing had the power to kill me, it would have done it already. But it hadn't. Why? Because it couldn't. It didn't have the authority to take my life. It needed me to give it up, so it could claim me. But now I knew who I was fighting. And in the middle of this spiritual chaos, another voice came. But it wasn't loud, it wasn't hateful, it didn't force itself into my thoughts. It was gentle, it was kind, and it asked me just one question. What are you going to do? Right then, I knew I was at a crossroads. I had to make a decision, one that would impact the rest of my life. Keep living the life I was living, keep fighting this thing in my own strength, or return to Jesus. And the choice was mine. I was free to choose, but I had to choose. Then something powerful happened. I had a flashback. And then I remembered Jesus. I remembered being young, baptized, in love with the Lord, part of a strong Christian community. I used to worship. I used to sing praises, but over time I drifted away. I forgot about him, but he hadn't forgotten me. In that dark moment, memories of him came rushing back. The teachings, the love, the peace I once knew. I began to understand what was happening. Before I could say it, I felt a nudge, a holy conviction. Jesus wasn't just offering a free pass. This wasn't just a get-out-of-jail card. He wanted all of me, not a piece. He wanted complete surrender, so I gave him everything. I said yes. And when I gave that response in my heart, I felt the enemy scoffing at me, mocking me as if I was lying like it didn't believe me. But it didn't matter, because I meant it. The next day, Jesus did something I'll never forget. For the first time in what felt like years, I didn't feel that evil presence. It was gone. And honestly, I had completely forgotten it even existed. That day I was wrapped in supernatural peace. It felt like Jesus himself was walking right beside me, shielding my thoughts, calming my heart. But after living in torment for so long, something felt off. Not because of disobedience, but because I wasn't used to this kind of peace. I had never felt anything like it before. My curiosity got the best of me. And without realizing it, I started scratching at the wall of my mind. This barrier Jesus had placed there, a wall of grace to protect me. And then the memories returned, one by one. I remembered the darkness. I remembered the pain, the torment, the voice, the fear. Jesus allowed me to remember, because even though I didn't realize it at the time, the battle wasn't over. I reached out in the Spirit just to check. Is that thing still there? And I felt it, but it wasn't huge anymore. It wasn't looming over me like before. It was distant, small, powerless. And right then I knew why. Because of Jesus. His light had crushed that thing's power. That was the last time I truly felt it. But it was only the beginning. Greater, more intense spiritual battles were waiting for me, just beyond the horizon. Still in that moment, I was just grateful to be saved. It felt like I had been pulled out of the Matrix, like I was finally seeing the truth for the very first time. That's chapter 1. That's how this all began. And it only gets deeper from here. In chapter 2, I'll tell you what happened when an angel came into my room and pulled my spirit out of my body. That night changed everything. If you felt something while watching this, if you've been battling in silence, don't leave without knowing this. Jesus sees you. He hasn't forgotten you. He's calling you. Subscribe to the channel. Share this with someone you know is struggling. This is just the beginning. All glory to Jesus Christ.